This is Jackie, and I'm here at Tim and the Mighty Mighty BossToneS Day 3 at Riot Fest. Enjoying yourself so far? You probably just got here, too.
I just got here. Well, I actually got to Chicago a couple days ago, but this is my first moment venturing into the venue.
Nice. Well, the BossTones have been jamming for almost 35 years. What do you attribute to your band's longevity?
35. Yeah, maybe.
That's pretty close.
I attribute it to... seriously, I attribute it to the fact that we like each other, like we get
helps.
along. Yeah. We're all just kind of regular guys, working class, blue collar dudes from Boston that started a rock band. And, we've been pretty smart about it. We all do other things now. Like there's like 4 or 5 of us that kind of work in the movie business in LA. Dickie's the announcer on Jimmy Kimmel. We've got a guy that's a college professor in Vermont, a guy that works at a video game company. So we all kind of have lead interesting lives on the other side of the rock and roll thing. And so, just being able to come and do these kind of things is a very cool thing to be able, and I think keeps us going, like that we can keep doing it.
Excellent. And you guys are playing Let's Face It front to back for its 20th anniversary. What was so pivotal about that album for you?
That it went platinum.
That helps.
It was like the #1 song on the radio. Honestly, for us, we had such a steady, fun rise that we started out in the indie record days, and our first record on Tang sold 50,000 copies. And we were touring kind of early in our the development of the band. So we always had a certain level of success. I think probably more success than we ever expected when we were starting out, just playing around as little high school kids, basically playing around Boston. So, by the time Let's Face It came around, I think we expected it, and at the same time we never really did. So it wasn't like our lives changed dramatically or anything. We'd put out a couple major label records. We were touring, we were having a great time. We were afforded creative independence and everything. So it was cool, to be on the radio and to do Saturday Night Live and all that. But it wasn't all of a sudden we were stars. We had a great fan base, and we're having a great time all the way up until that, and ever since.
And what was your writing process like for that album, and how has it changed throughout the years?
Well, the writing process changes because of the technology has changed. So, when we used to write songs, we'd just kind of jam in our rehearsal space, and there would be a cassette player on a shelf, and hey, that sounds good, let's record that. And that would be a demo, basically. Nowadays, we have home studios and even very simple things like GarageBand, where you can get ideas down really easy, and we share them with each other. We're actually working on a new album right now. We're just kind of in the beginning processes of that. It's something we're going to start working on in earnest in the coming months, and hope to have it out early next year. So that process has already started, the sharing of just ideas electronically, instantly.
What are some things that are inspiring your music writing now?
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I'm pretty upset with the current state of affairs in the world, so I'm sure that will be in. We've always had the BossToneS have always had a level of political, social commentary in our lyrics. Sometimes hidden, sometimes not so hidden. And recently there's been a fair amount of interest in some of our songs from the Let's Face It album because of their kind of relevance today, even though they were recorded 20 years ago. So that's been interesting to see happen.
I love when someone I interviewed earlier this week said, bad political times breeds good music.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. The punk rock that came out in the kind of the early days of the BossToneS and the Boston scene back then that we all kind of grew out of in the 80s, grew out of Ronald Reagan's presidency and a lot of really awful foreign policy and economic policy and Margaret Thatcher and everything else. So, yeah, it does.
It's so cyclical. It's crazy. And now you mentioned sort of the evolution of technology and how that affects your recording process. What role do you see music streaming sites have in 2017 and 18?
Music streaming sites?
Like Spotify and things like that.
They seems to me like they've taken over. I'm not really a super expert, and I'm not really that involved in the industry, but as an observer, it's certainly, and as for bands, it's all changed. the filters that used to kind of choose music that made it to audiences, you know, record labels, radio, all those people, that's all gone. So I'm sure that there's like new filters emerging in a way that it'll probably filter out the good music that it makes it to a guy like me. But I don't know. It's obviously changed the fact that the way you make money as a musician has completely flipped. You don't make money off of the recording of the music anymore, other than the sense that you kind of have something to sell as a performer.
See how it evolves next. So what's up next for you guys after Riot Fest?
We got a couple. We've kind of been like steadily doing like a few things every month. We've got actually a couple things coming up in Boston. We're doing a show in October in Boston, and then we're doing like our annual hometown throwdown in December, which is right after Christmas, and a few other things on the books. But we've been pretty active recently. Like we did a tour this summer of the Northeast. We've been bouncing around doing like festivals and stuff. Again, we've been getting good offers, and it fits in our schedule, and we've been having fun with it. And then obviously I think we're going to start working really hard on recording, and that takes a lot of work. So at least the way we do it. So
well, get ready to have fun with the Money Money BossTones. This is Jackie. Thanks to Chorus FM and In the Key of Change.